Okay, everyone, welcome back to the second to last episode of the Novio podcast season 4.
Yes.
I'm here in my crib with my Kinky BFF, which I am so excited to have you because the power of social media. And this was a topic last week. My friend Oliver, he hosts this amazing collective called Your Favorite Late Night Mixed Radio. Who wouldn't want to listen, okay? And they had a question there about the power of social media and how it connects people. And that's how I found you.
Yes.
I was like, okay, let me just follow. And like for me, I'm someone that if I like whoever it is, if you're posting content or I just find something that I like about you, I'll follow. And then I was like, you know what? Like, this person relates to a lot of the kinky fantasies that I have. You know, you're well-versed. So, welcome to the couch.
Thank
Cece,
you.
our Kinky BFF.
Yes.
First off, okay, how did you come up with that moniker? Because honestly, like, it's so inviting. I feel like sometimes people are scared when they see or hear the word kink. They think I'm going to be like, I don't know, licking toes. It's not always like that.
Yes. Also, that is a fetish, not a kink.
Okay,
Well, it can be both.
Educate me.
No, so that's kind of like where it actually came from, was because I found myself in a position where a lot of people were not trying to educate me on kink stuff. One, because I was raised in a church, so, you know. And two, like, there wasn't a lot of, like, sources that I could look to. Like, a lot of them were just like, oh, it's this, it's this, it's this. And I was like, that don't sound right.
Right.
And so I was like, well, Kinky BFF, like, that sounds more inviting than I'm your kink educator, or I'm like, you need to listen to me, because I don't want people to actually just listen to me. I want to be like a guiding post, and then you go do your own research. So.
Right.
But yeah, no, kink and fetish are two different things. So the way that somebody put it to me was like so beautiful. So fetish is something that you need to get off. So when most people have like a foot fetish, they have to see like the toes or like the soles of the feet, whatever they're attracted to.
We have shoes on, so no free content if you're thinking of getting something. I'm a size 7 though.
Yes, I'm a size 10, so you're gonna have to come with it.
Yes.
But yeah, so like for the fetish, it's just like I have to see that to get off. Like I need that to have my orgasm. Whereas kink is like, oh, it can be there. Like I like it, I enjoy it, but I don't necessarily have to have that to get off.
Ooh, we love the educational part of this because honestly, that's why I started the Novio podcast and in general talking about sex. Because for me, you know, I was raised Catholic. You know, I believe in the higher power and everything, but at the same time, I also like to get off and I like to do kinky stuff. Yes. But I also know I'm not an expert. Like, I'm still, you know, researching, finding out things, and I want to talk to people that, you know, have done the research and are out there being their best selves. So I wanted to talk to you, you know, like, how do you get the courage to put yourself out there as someone's Kinky BFF and be a creator on social media because people are watching you?
I don't.
I'm gonna think you really.
No, okay. So, honestly, I just think about it like, what was I looking for? Like, you know, like in that time when I first began researching and stuff like that. I just want to have conversations. I want to do my own research, and I just want to talk to people about sex. Like, that is my main passion in life, is just to like have different, inviting conversations about sex. And so the courage literally comes from like, somebody got to do it, because right now nobody's doing it. Well, like, there are people who are doing it, but they're doing it like from different aspects. And that's why I was like, I really don't want to come from like an expert position. I want it to be like, I'm your best friend, come ask me for advice or whatever. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Like, I think that like taking the expert title off of it can like free me, because I don't have to be like, oh, I know this, because I don't. 9 times out of 10 I don't. I probably will research it and tell you like from personal experience, and this is what I found, but also if it's wrong, don't hold me.
You're like, wait a minute, disclaimer.
Like, I can only tell you from my personal experience. But yeah.
I believe that too because, like, for me, I mean, I'm 30 now, and I'm still growing in my sexuality. I don't think I'm an expert. I haven't even tried a lot of the things on my to-do list, the sex things I want to do before I leave this earth.
Yes.
But, no, it's so true. I think sex is beautiful. It's something that we do. But I also believe, like, for instance, like, for you, I saw your page. You're very free. Yes. And I think, to me, it's, like, how did you get to that point? Because for me, like, I'm kind of in this transition of, like, I want to show more. Definitely whatever I'm comfortable with. But I haven't found that happy medium. So how do you get yourself in a mood to be like, hey, I want to, like, display a little bit more on social media?
Honestly, that freedom came from, like, healing a lot of, like, trauma, especially, like, religious trauma, because I was raised in the church, like, not Catholic, but Christianity.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that was, like, purity culture, and, like, this is how, like, a woman is supposed to behave. This is how a woman's supposed to, like, present herself, like, save herself from marriage, and, like, sex is bad, and all of those types of things. So that was, like, ingrained in me from the start. And then I kind of quickly realized, should have known from, like, a young age, but, like, once I became an adult, I quickly realized that's not me.
No, I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm a reformed person. I'm a free.
Yes.
Even that, it's like, what?
Yes. And so, like, healing through that, kind of coming to terms with, like, a lot of things that were just, like, not okay, not, you know, something that, like, women should be taught. I was like, okay, well, I know I'm not the only one who's going through that, right?
Yeah.
Especially, like, in the South. Like, I have a lot of family members who are like, oh, I'm interested in that, but I don't want nobody to know, but also I'm not going to try because, you know, it's bad. And there's, like, a lot of shame around that. And I'm like, life would be so much easier if everyone was just free to just do and be who they are. And so I was like, well, you have to be an example of that.
I agree.
So I became that example.
And I love the Kinky BFF, like, persona that you have, because even just sitting here with you on this couch, like, I feel very open to talk about these things with you.
That's what I want.
Yeah, no, for real. And I love, seeing the space being taken and reclaimed by non-white women. Because in the sex space, especially a lot of podcasts, it's like they get a lot of clout. And it's like, okay, I get it, but, like, what about us?
Yes.
Like, we are also kinky and fun and, you know, all of this. It's like, why is the sex space so white woman-centered on their pleasure? Like, it really kind of, like, ticks me off. And for you, you're also a fellow podcaster. Yes. You need to tell them about your podcast, okay?
Okay, so that's actually why I created. So my podcast is called My Body, My Pleasure.
My Body, My Pleasure.
Yes, it's on all podcasting platforms. Go check it out, definitely. But that's why I created My Body, My Pleasure. Same. Because... like, I was looking, like, I was researching, and I was like, all of these white people.
Yeah, that's it. All of them. If the sex podcast space is very dominated by white women.
Yes, and I was like, they have experience and stuff like that, but they don't have our experience. Because, you know, like, there's, like, a certain level of, like, cultural importance of, like, why we do stuff. So, like, for example, I'm in an interracial relationship.
What does that mean?
Interracial.
Oh, interracial. Okay.
I was like, wait, I feel like I'm saying this wrong.
I was like, this is a new term I have not heard.
No. So my partner is white.
Okay. Gotcha.
So we were like talking about different things and like different dynamics. Like my partner is a dom. I'm more of a switch. I'm not really a full submissive. And that's a little bit of it because like to me, like to fully submit to a white person, I can't.
Right.
That's just like culturally I can't. And like a lot of the things where like, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that. Let me say that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just me personally.
Right.
I can't do it. But also like there's things of like in the kink space of like wearing collars and stuff like that. Like we had an extensive conversation of like that ain't happening, dog.
Like your dudes, your hard nose, and your
yes, and
boundaries.
Yes.
Yeah, boundaries.
Negotiations.
Can you explain a little bit to the people that might not be too familiar with like sub, dom, switch?
Yes.
Because I think I'm a little bit of both too.
Okay. So dominant and submissive comes from the term BDSM. Mm-hmm. But what it is like I'm trying to say it without saying it, but dominant is more so of like this persona of like taking charge. I don't want to say owning, but like you are responsible for the people in your care. And so like that, I mean, that can be like a sexual thing, but like in kink, it can also just be like, I'm your dom, I'm telling you to drink more water. You need to drink more water or there's going to be punishment.
That's so true. A lot of people think it's always within like a sexual interaction, but I've heard of people that were like, we don't even have sex. Like, I just wear this collar and I can't take it off. Because my dom told me to. Because my dom told me to, yeah.
And it's also a thing of like, as a submissive, like, as a sub or as a switch, I like that because like, honestly, ultimately the sub is in control. Because like the dom can only do what the sub allows. And so like a lot of that goes into like negotiation, which is kind of like what we were talking about and like what me and my partner talked about, because my partner like also we're poly, so my partner has another partner.
You're definitely the kinky BFF. You're dabbling in a lot of different things. I love it.
Yes. Okay. So my partner has I'm gonna get back to the topic of like explaining that, but my partner has another partner who would like to exist in a 24/7 dynamic. And so what that is that like my partner will be their dom like 24/7. So that's like like my partner will make all the decisions like as the sub, the other partner like will literally just be at my partner's control. There's like they'll negotiate that or whatever. Yeah. But like my partner will have control. Like, my partner will just be the 24/7 dom. It's kind of like, this is going to sound bad, but it's kind of like a parent-child relationship. I'm not making a correlation. Please don't. Please don't. Cover me. But that,
don't cancel. It's too early.
Yes. But that's, like, more of, like, when I think of that is, like, a caretaker and someone who needs to be taken care of. Yeah. That's what I think of when I think of, like, a dom and submissive relationship. And so for that dynamic, that's 24/7, and the partner wants a collar, which is kind of how like we started talking about it, because I was like,
right, yeah,
like like that's to me is too much like close to slavery and like being chained up and like especially like because you are white, right. Like there's a little bit of like, we can't toe this line. I'm not going to toe this line with you. Because like when you're on a collar, there's like a lock and key. There's also like a leash or like there are different types of collars. And so I was like, a lot of that, I was just like, I feel like a slave. I'm not doing this. Yeah. So yeah, but like, that's kind of like how we got into that. But like, yeah, so for me as a switch, like, I am more subby with my partner. I'm also a little bit of bratty. So that's where my switch comes from. And so a brat is someone, I think of like a sub as like a good girl, like more willing to do.
Oh, baby girl.
Yes.
Baby
okay.
Girl energy. I have it on my chain.
Yes. So my partner and I actually have a term for me because I didn't like brat. I also didn't like little because to me, like as someone who is like a survivor of like child sexual assault, I was like, I don't want to be called a little either. I don't want to be in that child mindset. Right. So we came up with a name. I came up with a name and they like went along with it. But Pretty Pretty Princess, because I'm a princess. Yeah. That's kind of how we got to like Pretty Pretty Princess because I don't naturally agree with like little brat. I'm also not fully submissive, so I think of being fully submissive as like being a good girl, like whatever my dom says, that's what I'm gonna do. A brat is like, I'm gonna eventually do it, but I'm gonna like, I'm gonna
Right.
I'm gonna pick at you a little bit. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna like test your boundaries, kind of. But eventually, I'm gonna lead into that.
Yeah.
And so a little is kind of like into like age play. So like a lot of people think it's like, oh, I want to be a child, and it's not necessarily that. It's just like,
Is your partner a little bit older than you?
yes.
Okay. Mine too. Only by 7 years, but not too much.
I think ours is like 5, maybe.
Oh, damn.
No. Okay, but like a little of that too is like, I was the teenager that thought I was grown. So like I was 16 years old, engaged to a 24-year-old.
Okay.
Like it, like I understand like dating older. Like I've never dated somebody my age.
Same.
I just,
yeah,
it's not there.
I didn't even start dating until I came to LA.
What?
Yeah, in high school. I have similar backgrounds to you. I'm also a survivor of like childhood molestation.
Yeah.
So yeah, just going through all that, like I didn't date and actively have sex until my later years, which was like my early 20s.
Nice. Yeah. How was that like?
It's a discovery. Like even now as a 30-year-old, I've made a lot of progress, which is great, but there's still more, which I feel for maybe not all people that have gone through some sort of trauma. For me, it makes sense to be into like kink and fetishes as a way to reclaim my power. And it's actually enjoyable for me too. So as I'm, trying to figure out more about myself, that's a way for me to reclaim my power.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we definitely try not to put that stigma out there of like a lot of people who are into kink that are like,
not everybody has that background too.
But majority of us do.
Yeah.
It's like, how long are we going to talk about kink before we get into like the trauma and like what brought us into it? But yeah, so like a lot of people try to discourage people from getting into like BDSM, to kind of like heal their wounds or heal their trauma and stuff like that. And for me, I can see that because like I have guidelines where I'm like, there should definitely be like an age limit before people can engage in it and all of this stuff. But there is a healing aspect in BDSM. Like there is like, one, reclaiming your power, like you said.
Yeah.
And two, being able to like voice and negotiate. Like I can control what happens to me. Right. And also I have the power to stop that. And like I think as someone who went through like a lot of trauma like that, especially sexual trauma, that is like beautiful that like now I'm in this trusting relationship, because not all doms are good doms. I'm just gonna say that. Like not all doms are good. But with this dynamic, I literally can be like, I don't feel comfortable with this. And my partner will be like, okay.
I do want to ask you because, I don't think we mentioned that you're not originally from LA, but you've been living here for a while. So how did you connect with a kinky community out here in LA, not being from here? Like what guidance or research, or how did you get tapped into that world here in LA? So I don't think it's hard to find it. It's probably on Instagram or some shape or form. Someone DMs you, but like, how did you find community, and then how did you connect with a partner?
So my partner and I actually met at one of my close friends events. I don't know if you've heard of Venus in Aquarius.
No. I'm gonna have to follow on Instagram.
Yes.
What kind of information was that?
I'm gonna plug Venus in Aquarius. They curate monthly events for like a lot of queer people in LA to come together. They are absolutely amazing. I love Raph. He's the one who like curates the events and stuff, and he kind of did it to create this space of just like where we can come be our queer selves and like just kind of make connections. Like one of the coolest things that I think Raph does that, like, I was just like, yes, we need this. So a lot of Raph events, there's a cuddle puddle where just like, yes, exactly.
I do like to cuddle.
Exactly. Exactly.
We need more cuddle sessions. People watching, please cuddle more. Like, especially now with everything going on, like, we need human touch. Yeah, and it doesn't need to be sexual.
Yes, and that's the kind of like the beauty in like the event, like the Venus and Aquarius events, because like it's not sexual. Like we talk about a lot of sexual things. I mean, it's a queer event, so of course, you know, there's going to be some of that, but like that element of just like we just want to connect, we just want to build community, and like we need to cuddle sometimes. Yeah. So like there'll be a lot of blankets, and everybody just like piled into this big old cuddle. Everybody's like touching
It's like on a floor. You have a big bed. Like how's the setup looking like?
Well, because it's usually like outside events. So like we did it at the beach. We've done it at like parks and stuff. It's just like everybody brings a blanket. I mean, because you're sitting outside, so of course you're gonna like have something to sit on. Everybody like joins them together, and you just like grab somebody and y'all just be cuddling, like, or just like you can get in the middle if you like want pressure. Yes. And so it was at that beach event that me and my partner actually met. And then, like, the next month, we actually, like, went back to the same beach event and kind of made it official. So.
Wow, this is fast.
It was very fast.
I'm thinking, like, 3-4 months. Next month.
Our second time, like, officially meeting each other, we were we met at a dungeon. We met at Threshold. And, like, we were pretty much playing together, so it was like very, very fast.
I like it. I mean, when you know, and honestly, like right now I'm in this point in my relationship where I'm starting to realize it's okay to kind of dive in. I'm used to being very apprehensive, obviously, you know, like trust and things like that, but in this one it's kind of like this person has shown me with words, actions, all the above, like who he is. I'm like, I'm the one that should be like, all right, time to jump in the deep end, like, you know. So, yeah, I commend you for doing that, because honestly, like, if you find people out here that, like, one, respect your boundaries, connect with you, support you, why not? It's hard out here. Dating is hard out here.
It is so hard out here. So freaking hard. But don't commend me, because I was definitely the one that was like, oh, I think we're moving too fast. I don't. Literally, the first month that me and my partner were together, I literally tried to break up with it like 5 times. And it was like, no.
Self-sabotage. Yeah. Oh my God.
But yeah, so there was like a lot of healing in that too, though, and just like they were like, no, because I know that's not what you want. You're doing it because you think that like this is like what's best for us, and it's like, no, that's not it. So that's like how I actually built a trust for my partner to be like my dom, because it's like they showed me not only through like their actions, but also like their reassurance, their words. They're like, okay, I'm coming, I'm gonna do this for you, and they actually do it. So yeah,
I love that. Do you feel as someone in the kink space, like it's easier to make friends with other people in the kink space, or you are like, you know what, I just want to play in the kink space but not really be like friendly with everybody there?
It's easier to make friends, but I'm gonna add a caveat to that. So it's easier to make friends in spaces where we are accepted, so like black and brown people, because I've definitely gone to dungeons and like kink spaces where it's like strictly white people, and it's maybe like 1 or 2 black people.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh no. I'd be like, I'm not gonna be a token today. No,
you know, so there's definitely an element of like getting in that space of like, okay, I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna see other like more black, brown, POC type people, like it's not gonna be like one stereotype of people, and 2, there's gonna be queer people, because that's my thing too. That's like my focus is that like I don't want to go into a heteronormative space and try to be kinky, because I do not trust men. In the sense of like, because of like a lot of my trauma and stuff like that, it's not. And then especially like a lot of, not all, I'm gonna say not all, a lot of the doms that I've run into that are like heteronormative and stuff like that, they present this alpha male energy, and I'm not gonna respond well to that. I have authority issues, so I'm not gonna respond to that. So yeah, like those are like my main guidelines is finding queer spaces, queer kinky spaces, and then spaces where POC, brown people, black people, everybody is celebrated.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And you are doing that. I feel like, one, you know, you're involved in your community, but you also want to give back, which is what I love. Because I feel like oftentimes there's creators that's all like, I'm doing this. And it's like, for me, like, some of the intentions that I have for 2024, which I feel like you and I should talk about, is really like connecting with other podcasters. You know, I took a hiatus from the podcast with life and everything going on. Like, sometimes it's hard to create when life really is like, hey, stuff is due. Like, you know what I mean? And, like, don't get me wrong, I love creating, but sometimes it's like, okay, money's due, da-da-da's due. Like, I can't create, you know? So for me, like, for 2024, for this abundant year that I see and I envision for myself, I definitely want to create with more podcasters, with people that are giving back to the community, that are quote-unquote experts or just friendly BFFs, you know, that I can connect with. But yeah, I want to create more. And I want to ask you, because I know you have a podcast.
Yes.
Like, what are some things that you want to see yourself do in 2024 as your kinky BFF on the internet?
Yes. So it's funny that you mentioned life because, like, I actually don't like to call myself a podcaster because, like, right now I have one season out. The intention.
One season is a season. That's a season. You finished the season. It's hard getting seasons in. It took forever to get season 4 closed. We're doing it right now.
Yes, because like as soon as I finished that season, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do all this, I'm gonna do that. Literally, life knocked me on my ass. Like, I was like living out of my car, like the entertainment strike was going on, so like I lost my job. I was like, oh, like, please don't talk to me about my body, my pleasure. Like,
yeah,
I'm not in that space. But for 2024, I see like the rebirth of that, and getting back into that intention, hosting more events.
It will happen.
Yes!
We are gonna make an event seeing it. It's happening.
Yes! I am so excited for that because, like, I want to get back to the core of, like, what My Body, My Pleasure was created for, and it's to empower women to explore their sexuality no matter what it looks like.
Yeah. Just
full force with freedom and to be in a judgment-free zone. Like, you know, just, like, be able to communicate, like, oh, if you're feeling this type of way, maybe you should try this, you know?
Yeah.
And I started it, like, My Body, My Pleasure with the intention of, like, freeing a lot of women from the shame that they have and the experience around sex. Because, like, a lot of women are taught early on that, like, one, your body is not your own, your pleasure is not your own, like, you're subservient to whoever you choose to mate with, like, your husband, your life partner, or whatever. And so you're essentially, like, especially in the South and especially in purity culture, you're essentially taught to give so much of yourself to your life partner, to God, or, you know, like, God, then your life partner. And that's kind of like the little triangle. So that's where the name My Body, My Pleasure actually came from, was just like, it's my body, it's my pleasure. I get to choose, like, what I want to do with it, who enters it. I can say no. I can revoke consent at any time. And, like, I can own my pleasure. So if I want to be a little kinky, I'm going to be a little kinky.
Yes.
If I want to be a whore, like, be a whore.
We need to show the sweater because, oh my God.
Yes. So this
on
is...
brand with the Kinky BFF.
Yes. This is actually... So I made this. And
what?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
So, a lot of that, too, is rebranding, for 2024, is rebranding what My Body, My Pleasure looks like. I want to create, like, shirts and stuff like that, with, like, my life mottos, like, life is short, be a whore. Like, that's my, please be a whore.
Yeah, for real.
Trust me. You will thank yourself. But the other one, too, is, like, I have a different definition of slut. And so for me, slut means sexually liberated, unapologetically that bitch.
Oh yeah.
So that's why I was like, I want to brand that, because I feel like whore, slut, you know, like those are terms that are usually thrown to women to be like negative, derogatory. And I'm just like, I love being a whore. You calling me a whore is not gonna hurt my feelings.
No.
Because that means I just have experience. And you know what you're getting when you come to me. You're not gonna get someone who is inexperienced. You're not gonna get someone who is shy, who is timid, who, you know, may not know how to communicate their needs. Because if you're not pleasing me, I'm gonna tell you you're not pleasing me.
No, you have to. Yeah, like you have to.
Especially dealing with penis havers. Like you have to be able to communicate that and be like, what worked for this person is not working for me. Also, I'm a larger body girl. So you can't be putting me in these positions and thinking I'm going to be able to do what someone who might be like 5 times smaller than me. Like that's not going to work. But we still going to make it happen though.
Oh, hell yeah. And you know what I love too? So I want to touch base on you. Like, one, it is coming for you.
Yes.
You are going to create. You're already here. If this isn't, you know, motivation for you to do it, like, this is the sign to keep going. So I'm really happy that you were able to come. Literally, it was a DM. I was like, you free? Like,
yes. I literally have nothing to do.
I was like, okay, let's do it. And I also want to pay homage to Black women in the sex space. Like, I honestly learned from them. Like, literally, a lot of the creators that I admire, Glamazon Tioni.
Oh my, I love her.
Shan Boudrin, like all types of creators. Like I'm like, this is amazing because for me specifically, being a Latina woman, like a lot of us don't talk about sex, and that's just in the Latino culture. So I look up to these Black women that are putting it out there, you know, and being themselves. So one, hell yeah, like you're doing it. So I'm excited.
Yes.
And I do want to put it out there too, like, I think it's important to have education around it because a lot of it, you know, not that it's bad, like we have like the TikTok culture and you could literally say anything, but I do believe in education too because like you said, sometimes we might be wrong, so it's good to know that and then be like, hey, these are some real facts, like this is some actual biology that's going on. So I like that.
Yes, I think education is highly important because, like, and that's why I tell people all the time, like, I can give you my personal experience, I can give you what I research, but I also encourage you to go do your own research because what may works for me might not work for you.
Yeah.
And I also want to shout out Goody Howard, plus size, Black sex educator, absolutely love. She was actually one of the people who inspired me to, like, start looking at sex in different ways. Like she have like her up down, knee up, knee down methods, like ride.
You gotta send it to me.
Yes. I'm
subscribing to Glamazon Tioni's like dick riding class.
Yes.
Like I'll be like I don't mind paying.
Yes. I don't mind paying, but
don't.
Yeah, like so that's kind of like how I got with Goody because like Goody was like teaching ways for plus size bodies to like still be able to do something and enjoy because like I love riding. Yeah. However, my knees do not.
No, I get you.
And so like I love Glam's like cowgirl workout like dick riding sessions too, but a lot of her stuff I'm like, girl, my knees gonna give out. So Goody inspired me to like research like different positions, different things for different bodies, and that's kind of like how I like spiraled and was like, oh shit, ain't nobody talking about this.
Yeah.
And that's how my body, my pleasure came about.
Oh hell yeah! I love this. I'm really glad you came, and honestly, I'm glad that you know we are closing off on a good note with my Kinky BFF because I think it's important to talk to other people that are also creating in the sex space, and there needs to be more of us out there. You know what I mean? So definitely tune into season 4. It took a while to finish the season, but we're here, and I'm in a better creative space. So that's why I really wanted to finish for myself, and then also just finish on a good note because I'm like, this is also inspiring for me because I've been saying I want to interview other podcasters, and it's like it took a while, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna do it. So if you want to tune in, definitely plug in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, all of the above, all the social medias. But definitely let us know how we can connect with you.
Yeah.
And any projects that you have going on for 2024 or no.
So My Body My Pleasure podcast on Instagram, or literally everywhere. You can also find the actual podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple.
Mm-hmm. You're like everywhere. Oh, like wherever you listen to.
Yes, like, literally everywhere. You can also follow me. Your Kinky BFF on TikTok and Instagram. It's just Sierra, but I'm changing it to your Kinky BFF.
You need to. That's literally, I was like, I just saw that on your bio, so I was like, I'm gonna call you that.
But yeah, 2024 YouTube channel coming full force, making merch, and then also there's gonna be, I'm in talks right now, but there's gonna be a pleasure workshop. It's gonna be LA based for right now, but I do want to eventually take it virtual. And it's all about self pleasure, so masturbating, switching up your masturbation routine. Teaching you different ways to do things, because like I personally think a lot of people just think masturbating is just like laying on your back and like putting a toy there. Yeah. And it's like, no, babes, you can get in that mirror. You can get in. I was about to say. I also get in that mirror. You can turn on your back, doggy style. And just like, different ways to switch that up and like experience pleasure for yourself.
Yeah. So. Experience pleasure, everybody. And this is your Kinky BFF. Don't forget to connect with her on all platforms. And thank you so much for coming on. Like, I'm excited.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is a beautiful podcast.
Thank you. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, all of that above.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.